Did you hear about Kenny Rogers? He was a really famous country music singer in the United States for a long time, minus 65 years. Sadly, he passed away in March 2020. Besides his music, people also knew him for having been married 5 times. Some might think he was really good at marriage, but that's not true. Even though there were happy times, he had a lot of problems in his personal life that hurt his family and marriages. Now his 5th wife is talking about the truth of his life. You should be ready to hear it. Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton were friends in the music world, and their friendship was special. Despite rumors, they always said their connection was a true and deep friendship. According to the Washington Post, their friendship was strong because they both believed in the same religion and had tough childhoods. Kenny Rogers grew up in a part of Houston called the 4th Ward, and it was not easy. The place where they lived was meant for white families, and this made life hard for families like Rogers. He was one of 8 kids, and they struggled with money. His parents worked a lot, his dad as a carpenter and musician, and his mom as a cleaner and hospital worker. Even with all the problems, Rogers' siblings say their faith helped them and their neighbors stick together. They were poor, but they always believed things would get better. Kenny Rogers didn't forget where he came from when he became famous. He remembered the people who helped him in the beginning. The Houston Press said he made sure to give back to those who supported him. There's a story where he found out an old neighbor needed $600 to fix her car. Without thinking twice, he sent her $20,000 and told her to get a new car. He wrote a note saying thanks for helping him pay rent years ago. In his 2012 book, Luck or Something Like It, Kenny Rogers talked about his life. He shared not just the good parts, but also the tough times that made him who he was. In his discussions, Kenny Rogers talked about a really emotional topic: his father's struggle with alcoholism. This was a tough experience for Rogers and influenced some important choices in his own life. In an interview with Reuters, Rogers shared that watching his father deal with alcohol problems and the difficulties that came with it made him decide not to drink alcohol at all. This choice was not just about breaking the cycle of addiction, but also because he worried he might have a family tendency to become addicted. Even though he was determined to stay away from alcohol, it was not an easy decision for Rogers. His memoirs show that he felt a deep sadness because he never really understood why his father had problems with alcohol. The tough times after World War II, with money problems and many people being unemployed, played a part in his father's struggles. Rogers wished he had known more about what caused his father's dependency on alcohol. It was a reminder of how personal struggles and outside circumstances can be connected in a complicated way. Despite these difficulties, Kenny Rogers was a strong and positive person. He believed in turning bad situations into good ones, like making lemonade out of lemons. The memoir revealed that when Rogers faced challenges with alcohol and drugs, he found comfort and purpose in photography. It became a way for him to express himself creatively and also a form of therapy. Rogers used his fame to speak up for people dealing with addiction, drawing on his own experiences. Kenny Rogers' journey to becoming a star was deeply connected to music since he was very young. The New York Times reported that everyone in his family, including most extended family members, played musical instruments. Music was a big part of their daily life. However, despite growing up in such a musical environment, Rogers faced big challenges on his way to success. Rolling Stone revealed that a crucial moment in his career was when someone, Steve Wynn, told him he was going to be fired. Even though it was tough, Rogers stuck to his commitment and finished his contract by performing in a Las Vegas lounge for about 600 people. This was a hard time for his career, and when he tried to get a record deal as a solo artist, he faced a big obstacle. Many record companies rejected him, saying he was too old for country music. At that time, Rogers was between 35 and 40 years old, and the industry thought he didn't fit the young image they wanted for country music. Despite all these challenges, Kenny Rogers didn't give up. He showed determination and resilience in the face of tough times. The turning point in his career happened with the help of Larry Butler, a crucial producer who played a big role in changing the direction of Rogers' musical journey. Under the guidance and support of Larry Butler, Kenny Rogers finally achieved the breakthrough he had been working so hard for. Winning a Grammy for his hit song Lucille marked a turning point in his career, and Rogers made sure to express his gratitude to Larry Butler when he accepted the award. This partnership not only brought Rogers into the spotlight, but also challenged age-related stereotypes that initially made it difficult for him to enter the competitive world of country music. Kenny Rogers and Dottie West not only had a successful musical partnership, but also a deep and lasting friendship beyond the recording studio. They collaborated on several albums and produced major hits like Every Time Two Fools Collide and Anyone Who Isn't Me Tonight. According to Country Music Family, their connection went beyond the professional realm. They were exceptionally close friends outside of work. Sadly, Kenny Rogers was one of the last people to see Dottie West before her untimely death in the early 1990s. West faced personal challenges, including a divorce and bankruptcy. Despite the hardships, Rogers supported her as she tried to rebuild her career and life. Rogers even gave West a car as a meaningful gesture, symbolizing both practical assistance and their deep friendship. Tragically, West's car malfunctioned on August 31, 1991, leading to a tragic accident that resulted in severe injuries and her passing a few days later. Reflecting on their friendship and West's untimely death, Kenny Rogers expressed a personal goal in a 2014 interview with Rolling Stone. He wanted to ensure that Dottie West received the recognition she deserved by being inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame. This goal came true 4 years later, and Rogers congratulated his friend on Facebook. In 2012, Kenny Rogers found himself in a legal battle highlighting a significant issue in the music industry: fair compensation for artists from digital sales. As reported by The Hollywood Reporter, Rogers filed a lawsuit against Capitol Records, arguing that artists should get 50% of the revenue from online sales, especially digital downloads. This legal action was part of a broader trend, with other notable figures like the Allman Brothers, Rob Zombie, and Sister Sledge joining similar class action lawsuits. The heart of the matter revealed a substantial problem affecting the entire music industry, estimating that around $25 billion hadn't reached artists from online sales on platforms like iTunes. In his lawsuit against Capitol Records, Kenny Rogers claimed that the record label had kept around $400,000 in profits from the digital downloads of his music. This legal action highlighted a widespread problem where artists were not getting their fair share of earnings from the digital music market. Despite attempts to resolve the issue directly with the record company, it ended up becoming a legal battle. The importance of this lawsuit went beyond just Kenny Rogers. It brought attention to the bigger challenges faced by artists in the digital age, where the traditional ways of getting paid were struggling to keep up with the rapidly changing world of online music. The outcomes of these legal battles had big implications for artists in all genres, emphasizing the need for industry-wide changes to make sure artists get fair pay for their creative work. This problem continued, and by 2020, the focus had shifted to streaming services. Haley Bozer, an expert in intellectual property law from Bristol University, London, pointed out ongoing inequalities in compensation. Even though streaming music was making over £1 billion, about $1.3 billion USD, in profits in the UK alone, Bozer noted that 8 out of 10 artists were getting shockingly low annual payouts, below $200, or around $250 USD. This highlighted the ongoing struggle for artists to receive fair payment in the digital age, stressing the need for major changes to create a fair and sustainable music industry for everyone involved. In Kenny Rogers' autobiography, Luck or Something Like It, published in 2012, he shared a close look at his personal life, talking about the complexities of his 5 marriages. At the time of the book, he had been married to his 5th wife, Wanda, for 15 years, and he openly shared the lessons he learned from his earlier marriages. Known for his honesty, Rogers took responsibility for the failures of his marriages, saying it was because of his own ambitious and self-centered nature. In an interview with Reuters, Rogers looked back on his relationships and expressed genuine regret for the impact his choices had on the women he married. He admitted that as he got more into his career and personal goals, he lost sight of the relationships that mattered to him. Despite the difficulties, he stressed that he had truly loved each of his wives when they got married, putting the blame on himself and the demanding nature of his music career. Kenny Rogers started his journey into marriage at 19 when he married his then-girlfriend Janice Gordon, who was pregnant at the time. However, this marriage didn't last long, and after his divorce from Janice, he had a 3-year marriage with Jen Rogers. Following marriages happened with Margot Anderson, 1964 to 1976, Mary M. Gordon, 1977 to 1993, and finally, Wanda Miller in 1997. Each marriage had its own challenges. Mary M. Gordon, in an interview with Closer Weekly, opened up about the complexities of her relationship with Kenny Rogers. Despite him being entirely focused on her during their marriage, Gordon revealed that Rogers struggled with a sense of longing and a midlife crisis, driven by concerns about his career's perceived decline. The end of their marriage resulted in a divorce settlement, reported by the Irish Independent, amounting to around $60 million. This financial resolution marked a significant chapter in the aftermath of their marriage, highlighting the complexities that arise when a high-profile individual's personal life intersects with the demands of fame and success. Kenny Rogers' final marriage drew public interest due to the significant age difference between him and his wife, Wanda Miller. As he shared with Fox News, Miller was 28 years younger than Rogers, a fact that didn't go unnoticed, especially by her parents, who were 2 years younger than the legendary singer. Despite initial disapproval, the enduring love and compatibility of the couple silenced skeptics over time. Their initial meeting was not planned. It was a chance encounter that seemed almost fated. The chemistry between Kenny and Wanda was palpable, and the sparks of their connection ignited instantly. As their relationship blossomed, it became clear that fate had orchestrated their meeting in a way that only seemed fitting for two souls destined to intertwine. Kenny Rogers' journey through the intricate landscape of 5 marriages stands as a testament to the multifaceted nature of love, fame, and personal growth. The final chapter of his romantic saga unfolded with the serendipitous meeting of Wanda Miller at a quaint restaurant called Pritchie in Atlanta, Georgia. Little did they know that this chance encounter would weave a narrative that transcended the complexities of their pasts. Their initial connection was orchestrated by fate on the canvas of a blind date. Wanda Miller, a 26-year-old hostess at Pritchie, found herself at the epicenter of a destiny yet to unfold. Coincidentally, on the very day when her path was destined to cross with Kenny Rogers, she had been sharing her aspirations of finding her special someone with a co-worker. Little did she know that the universe had already set its plans in motion. Kenny Rogers, a legendary figure in the world of music, walked into Pritchie that day, unaware that his life was about to take an unexpected turn. As he enjoyed his meal, his eyes were drawn to Miller, and an instant captivation took hold. Determined to unravel the mystery of this enchanting hostess, Rogers took the bold step of inquiring about her after finishing his meal, leaving his number. He set in motion a sequence of events that would alter the course of both their lives. When Wanda Miller returned to work the following day, she was met with the astonishing revelation of a call from Kenny Rogers. Initially dismissing it as a prank orchestrated by her coworkers, she hesitated before realizing the authenticity of the situation. Gathering her courage, Miller took the leap and called Rogers back, unknowingly stepping into the next chapter of her life. Their initial connection, born out of a chance encounter and a bold pursuit, defied expectation. Kenny Rogers faced the challenges and joys of being a parent, openly discussing the complexities of fatherhood in a 2006 interview with the Irish Independent. He admitted to excelling in fatherhood with his twin boys, but acknowledged making mistakes along the way, highlighting the universal challenges of parenting. His journey into fatherhood began with the birth of his daughter, Carol Lynn, in 1958. Despite subsequent divorce and attempts at reconciliation, they remained estranged. In a gesture of respect for his daughter's relationship with her stepfather, Rogers chose to step aside rather than disrupt their bond, showcasing the complexities of navigating personal relationships within changing family dynamics. Estrangement also played a role in Rogers' relationship with his son, Kenny Rogers Jr., born from his third marriage. After divorcing Kenny Jr.'s mother, Rogers promised to always be his father. Despite challenges and physical separation, Rogers remained committed to his role as a father. In explaining his decision to retire, Rogers expressed regret over not spending enough time with his older sons. He lamented the missed moments and acknowledged the importance of being an active participant in his children's lives, particularly during their formative years. In 1991, Kenny Rogers entered the restaurant business with Kenny Rogers Roasters, aiming to provide an alternative to Kentucky Fried Chicken. Despite initial promise, the chain faced challenges, including a $10 million lawsuit and increased competition. In 1998, financial difficulties led to bankruptcy, prompting the sale of the business. Rogers distanced himself from the struggling restaurant chain, personally and professionally, marking the end of his venture into the restaurant industry. Despite the closure of most Kenny Rogers Roasters outlets, a legacy persisted, especially in Southeast Asia, where approximately 200 locations still carried the name. Kenny Rogers announced his retirement in 2017 after a remarkable 60-year career. Kenny Rogers' retirement was unexpectedly cut short, when he passed away on March 20th, 2020, leaving behind a legacy that crossed musical genres and touched the hearts of millions. Rolling Stone reported that he died peacefully at home from natural causes under hospice care, surrounded by his family. Although the specific cause of death wasn't disclosed, it was known that Rogers had been dealing with mobility issues in the years leading up to his passing. The news of Kenny Rogers' death prompted an outpouring of tributes from fans, fellow musicians, and friends. Dolly Parton, a longtime friend and collaborator, delivered a particularly poignant tribute in a heartfelt video on Twitter, expressing deep sorrow and emphasizing the profound impact Rogers had on those who knew him personally and through his music. His death coincided with the global COVID-19 pandemic, leading to restrictions on public gatherings. Consequently, his funeral was limited to a small and private service adhering to safety guidelines. Plans for a future public celebration were announced, acknowledging the challenges and adjustments people faced during a period marked by unprecedented circumstances. Kenny Rogers had expressed deep gratitude to his fans for their unwavering support throughout his remarkable career. However, a legal dispute involving a former friend and employee, Kelly Junkerman, emerged, adding complexity to the farewell proceedings. The lawsuit revealed a contentious situation surrounding video footage captured during Kenny Rogers' farewell tour. Rogers had allegedly given Junkerman permission to film the tour with the understanding that the footage would not be released. Contrary to this agreement, the lawsuit claimed that Junkerman released the footage in the form of a DVD titled Kenny Rogers, The Gambler's Last Deal. The legal action sought to block the unauthorized release of the footage and included a claim for $290,000 in damages. Legal experts suggested that the urgency to block the DVD's release may be linked to the estate's intention to release an official version. The desire to avoid confusion between the unauthorized release and an official representation of Rogers' farewell tour contributed to the swift legal action. Despite legal challenges, pre-sale links for the DVD circulated, emphasizing the need to halt sales to protect the estate's interests and maintain control over the official representation of the farewell tour. The legal dispute added a bittersweet dimension to Kenny Rogers' retirement, highlighting the challenges that can arise when bidding farewell to a storied career. While Rogers expressed immense gratitude to his fans, the legal proceedings underscore the complexities that can emerge as artists navigate the intersection of their personal and professional lives, especially during significant transitions like retirement.